Hello, Mid-Michigan. Thank you for joining me at the digital desk. I'm your anchor, Kyle Macon. Yes, we're on here today, as you can see from the title. Genesee County Sheriff Chris Swanson is expected to speak here in a few moments about their ghost sting operations and also some arrests that they've made here recently. So yeah, we're supposed to hear that just moments from now, as you can see over my shoulder. But while we're waiting, I was just going to give you guys some background info on Ghost, just kind of how it's been going and some of the people that they've caught in this. But moving over to just some of the background of this. So Ghost was created in 2019. And since its creation, it's caught over 200 alleged predators since its creation. So it's a pretty much their goal and focus of this, as you can tell, is to catch people that are involved either in sex trafficking, use of minors, in that sort of thing. But yeah, it's a team effort over there at the Genesee County Sheriff's Office, where they're just, like I said, making sure that children are safe here in the area and also in surrounding areas, because as you know, there's in these schemes of sex trafficking, there is a large network there. So obviously there could be a possibility that for fights for network around. And
before you settle down and get married
and all that, here in Michigan, but across the country, because who knows what they're involved with outside of here in our state. But yeah, we have a bunch of great stories on midmichigannow.com of some of the past arrests they've made. We actually have a really great story. This is actually from June 28th. The June 28th, where the Ghost team actually helped rescue 2 teen girls. Awesome story. That was actually on Wednesday, June 28th. So if you want to check that out, that's on Mid-Michigan Now. Just an absolute terrible situation, but thankfully to this Ghost investigation team, they saved them. Another story that is amazing, and I just want to give a shout out to, let me find it, with Courtney Bennett. It's one of our senior reporters here. She actually has a great story from June 15th of 2023, where she actually got to go out with the Ghost team and kind of with the sheriff's office to see kind of what they do day in, day out. But just an absolute great story. And like I said, you'll get a kind of firsthand look of what they have to deal with. In this one, she was working in specific. She was actually there with them when they're trying to locate 20 children across Genesee County. It's a great story. Like I said, you get to actually just get that firsthand look of what they're doing. It's just great. And then, like I said, they've also made, single-handed arrests. Obviously, they do a bunch of groups of arrests that they've made. They've had, a Clio man, multiple people. But yeah, like I said, since 2019, over 200 alleged predators have been caught. Just great work, like I said. And let me see. But yeah, so kind of how they do this, I'm sure you guys have seen some people that do it themselves. I don't recommend going and trying to approach some of these people, because you never know. But what they pretty much do is they pose as decoys, as like minors, and they pretty much make it known that they're minors, and they just kind of see how adults would react. If they would say, well, that's against the law, that, and move on. And that's how they catch these individuals. And then, like I said, then they do like a sting operation. They catch these people. Like I said, this article from August 9th, where they caught over, right here, they have a bunch of them that they've caught, a wide variety of ages, types of people. It can be anyone. So like I said, just really great work from the Genesee County Sheriff's Office. But yeah, so let me see. And it operates in 53 Michigan counties, 7 other states, and they've arrested 190 suspects. Like I was saying, it could be pretty much anything and anyone. Actually, let me see. It looks like they're just about to get started, but as soon as I start hearing them, I will turn it over to them here in a second. But like I said, it can be literally anyone. So the age range that they found is from 18 to 61. They've, obviously multiple different professions, such as, there you can see Chris Swanson right there behind my shoulder. And, it could have been the one was a doctor, a caregiver, a tire shop technician. Yes. So like I said, it can be anyone at any time. And it looks like they're about to get started on that presser. So right after this, we'll have a recap. So let me take it over to Chris Swanson. So I'll be back as soon as this is done.
Take it away from that TV just a smidge.
Yeah. Pros here. Thank you.
It's Chris with the instrument. There we go. I think we got it. There we go.
Today's a ghost operation briefing. I'm going to share the identity of 7 arrestees that G.H.O.S.T within Genesee County has arrested. And we're going to tell you about where they are from and where they work and the details of the case. The 8th individual we're going to tell you about is very disturbing. It's a heavy case. It involves a young teenage victim whose privacy and whose innocence was stolen. G.H.O.S.T operates, Genesee Human Oppression Strike Team, to proactively find people that are predators before they actually have a real victim. And that's why these 7 individuals that we're talking about were arrested through these operations just in this county, but the 8th is the one who actually acted out. As we tell these stories, it's going to cause you to ask more questions, and that's the reason for this, is for you to take this information and see how it applies to you and your own family. We're going to go over evidence that was taken from some of our arrestees and from the scene that happened from our arrest in Thetford Township. Reference an individual who's held here right now on a $600,000 cash bond. But before we start, G.H.O.S.T has been since 2018. We have been in an operation in not only just Genesee County, but in 58 other counties in the state of Michigan, in 9 states throughout the country: Texas, Ohio, Florida, Missouri, Nevada, Washington State, Oregon, California, and Alabama. These are states and areas that we've actually been involved with and done operations with or had victims there, and G.H.O.S.T has worked hand in hand. These counties, I can't thank the sheriffs enough and the partners that we have from the FBI to the state police and local law enforcement when we do these operations, that many of these sheriffs have started their own G.H.O.S.T teams, their own SHOT teams and G.H.O.S.T teams and Viper teams and Upper Peninsula teams, because I know the people of this county travel, and so do predators. And so to have coverage throughout the entire state where there is somebody who's trained and ready to identify predators, that keeps us all safe, which is the reason why we'll go wherever the need is to train others or to work with others to find those that may be a predator. G.H.O.S.T has a stat that we share because of the national stats, which means that each individual that's arrested, because they will reoffend, the history shows it, majority of them, not all, that it saves the lives of 25 future victims. That's 5,000 future victims. That's what keeps driving us to do these multi-day operations throughout the night, chatters to chat the most vulgar conversations, and decoys to put themselves out there and then go back and be moms and daughters in their own life. They put it out there because they want to stop people from being victimized from these predators. What's interesting is we can't do it alone, not even just law enforcement, but I want to point out Voices for Children. In Genesee County, Shiawassee, Lapeer, they are the ones that do our forensic interviews for our underage victims. It's a beautiful organization that they do it in a way which is the criminal mindset behind it, and they understand how to put these cases together, because sometimes the only evidence we have is the statement from that young victim. So I want to say thank you to Voices. YWCA, which is one of our shelters, and they have a number of other resources that they can send so we can bring victims to and put them in a safe house. We work with counties all over. Depending on where the predator is on an active case, we may have to send them to the west side of the state to keep them safe. You're talking individuals that have been trafficked and abused and raped 15, 20 times in a day. And they have done this. They have no out. They have no place to escape. And so YWCA in our safe houses, our aftercare, they restore them physiologically and psychologically and emotionally. Hurley Medical Center, which does all of our pediatric examinations, and in each hospital throughout this county and all throughout the country is our SANE nurses. These are nurses that are trained in forensic examination and interviewing of victims, not just young victims, but anybody who's being exploited for sex. There's a protocol, and we're working more and more with different doctors, Dr. Weber being one, who is taking the lead and saying, in the medical world, not every ER is created equal, not every ER has sane nurses, so what is the protocol that we need to put into place that when a victim is brought to an ER and their trafficker is right there because they're an asset, what can we use in order for us to make sure that they're given that safety net? So I want to thank them. So here we go, our Genesee County operations. These are the 7 people that are arrested, and we're going to go over each one of them individually. Christopher Kuhl, age 29. Josh Kaczynski, age 39. Clifford Mitz, age 68. Terry Ann Motten, age 23. Devin Raymond, age 44. Jesus Valverde Textra, age 29. And Jared Weaver. All of these individuals, through the good work of the prosecutor's office, thank you to David Layton, have been charged with accosting a child for immoral purposes, using a computer to commit a crime, a child sexually abusive activity on a computer. Our first one is Clifford Mitz, 68 years old. He's a Genesee County resident, retired, and asked our decoder, what's the donation? Many times these predators try to minimize their actions by the words they use. They try to rationalize why they're going at 68 years old, try to pick up a 15-year-old. This individual also has connections in Saginaw County, but came down to our operation here in Genesee, a retired individual. Our next is going to be Devin Raymond. Devin Raymond lives in St. Clair Shores. This was a Mundy Township operation. He came for a 15-year-old that was being sold by her trafficker. Again, these are our operations. He works as a heating and cooling specialist. And when you think of the individuals being trafficked, and I use the term assets, that's how they're treated. Not only by the traffickers, but also those that are the predators, the consumers. Imagine having a human being sold for $100. And that was one of our highest bidders. It goes down from here. Devin Raymond, age 44. Our next one is going to be from a Flint Township operation, Christopher Kuhl. Christopher lives in Grand Blanc. And he was at first hanged up about the age. And it was clear from our conversation that this wasn't the first time it happened. He's self-employed in the construction industry and came for a 15-year-old female, Christopher Kuhl. Our next is Terry Ann. Mr. Motten, age 23. This is a Mundy Township operation. And he knew from the beginning that it was wrong. In fact, in one of his chats, he said, OMG, you are 15. And then when he was arrested, he screamed, no, no, no. What drives somebody to do this? There's a hunger that they're trying to feed. And the reason we do these operations is to not only show the inside of what's happening within G.H.O.S.T to protect the community, but it's also to maybe highlight if somebody is on the edge and they know it's wrong. Get help before you act out. Get help before it's a real victim, because there's no take-backs when you show up and there's a real live victim there or a police operation under G.H.O.S.T. These individuals, from this one from Saginaw County, they'll travel. And when they travel into other places, nobody is immune from this. Mr. Motten, age 23. Jared Weaver. Jared Weaver chatted with us for over 2 days. At any point, could have had a break in the conversation thinking, what am I doing? He's from Clare, Michigan. Traveled all the way after 2 days of talking down to Clare and wanted to have sex with our juvenile underage victim with no protection. Specifically asked, no condom. He's a truck driver, age 30 years old. Jesus Valverde Texta, age 29, from Pontiac, Michigan. He told our chatter that he was actually 17. A 29-year-old man, age 17. He's a landscaper. And during this time, I said that the value of these individuals keeps going down. His max bid was $70. Imagine buying, again, a human, an innocent human, somebody who had no choice, because some of our scenarios are so outrageous that it should shock the conscience of even those individuals that this is not right. They should have, instead of coming there, they should have called 911 and brought the police there, but yet they continue to come. In this case, G.H.O.S.T was able to bring him in for an underage 15-year-old. We know that this isn't the first time that it's happened. Multiple times. A man from Pontiac, Michigan. These are all Genesee County operations. Stas Kaczynski from Lapeer County, arrested in an operation in Montrose. He just came by for a 10-minute quickie. Was no concern of the age, had no, even states no drama, just wanted to come in and come out. You know, these individuals have families too. In one way, as the protector of the community and an enforcer, an operator, I look at them as what they're doing to undermine society. But the individuals and their families, of which he has and others do, they pay a price as well. So I give these updates with a heavy heart because I know the families are paying the price. Our next individual is going to be the landscaper. Excuse me. This individual, as I said, for the record, is a legal citizen in the United States. These 7 individuals are all bonded out. I told you they were all charged with the same 3 counts. But that leads me to this 8th individual, Nicholas Lee. Before I get to Nicholas, what we have here is we have evidence that was taken from our operations. They bring Faygo pot. They bring bottles of wine. These are glitter body markers. As you know, protection, condoms. They bring lotions. This is part of the fantasy that they have in order to act out. And doing this for 5 years, you've got individuals that, not in this case, but they drop off their own kids that exact same age to go have sex with other people the identical age. And so this is that fantasy world. And when we do our cases and we document these things, I want to point this out that with these cases, we don't lose. These 200 arrests, we've never lost a case. Not everyone gets treated the same way. It's a wide net. They get dispersed in different ways. Some go to trial, most get pled out. But the goal is for accountability. So they don't act out like this guy did. This was a case that started last fall. And you may say, well, why are we talking about last fall here in April of 2024? Because it started out with this. This simple cell phone plug-in that was plugged into a underage girl's bedroom. But it's actually a camera. It was a camera planted by that guy. If you just saw this plugged in, you would not realize that it's a camera. This is where innocence has been stolen. This is where privacy has been victimized. And I wonder in this young victim's life, will they ever trust what's in their bedroom again because of a simple camera that was plugged in with the sole intention on securing footage of a young victim in their bedroom doing what all of us do in our bedroom where we think they're safe. That camera plug-in. Nicholas Lee was found to have done that because when the adults in the house found it, they came to the sheriff's office. And I want to say thank you for trusting G.H.O.S.T. Thank you for coming here. And our sergeant at the time went up there and we were able to secure the evidence of the camera. And when we arrested Lee and charged him, he had his phone. This right here is the creepy white van in the 21st century. This right here is what holds child pornography around the world. And if you look at human trafficking, child pornography, and you look at the consumption of it, the majority of the consumption and the consumer comes from America and Western civilization, Europe. And so when we have someone's phone and we download it, we get to what we have right now. Because it wasn't just the camera where he was actually charged with using a computer to commit a crime and accosting a child for immoral purposes. But what's most disturbing is the fact that Nicholas Rodman Lee also was charged with 30 counts of child pornography with 294 images on this phone, graphic images. In fact, I have the report of the images here, and for the sake of keeping it respectful, I can only say that it's everything you would possibly think of that is allowable in a consensual sexual relationship, but yet the images of these individuals are prepubescent. These are young girls that are in single digits with grown men. 294 images, and he was charged 30 counts. This involves exploitation and penetration and rape of these young victims. I don't know where they're from. It doesn't matter if they're from America or other countries. It's exploiting young victims around the world, and it's being used to monetize. It's being used to incentivize, and this is the trade that these individuals are in. So not only is Nicholas Rodman Lee here, there may be a time where he or somebody else did it to someone else. And that's why we do these stories. I'm so thankful for ABC and Mid-Michigan Now, Channel 5 and MLive who cover these stories, and all the other newspapers that are around, because you take this information and maybe one of these individuals hurt somebody, but they've never come forward because they don't believe that someone will listen to them, which is why we do right here. We give the story. And so I want to say thank you to the media. Thank you to David Custer back there, who's always a champion for telling these stories. But I also want to point out to the fact that he's held here on that $600,000 cash bond. He's here now. And because of the good work and the downloading of the phones, the fact that this camera and the good work of that parental support system of the young victim led us to this, which led us to these images of child pornography. So these are the cases that G.H.O.S.T has concentrated on in the most recent past. I will tell you what's interesting is in our last 3 operations, we've been working since 2018. We've not had a single person show up. Some may say that is a failure. I don't. When we did our first operation in 2018 in this county, we had 6 people show up, and we could have worked all week and kept getting them. And I'm glad the word's out. I want all predators to be on alert that the people of this community are safe, because we're out there all the time. But I also know there's individuals like Lee that are using undermined ways to exploit our individuals. If that happens, call 911. You can call our Genesee County Sheriff's Office 24/7 line and ask for a G.H.O.S.T commander or a G.H.O.S.T operator to call you back. The YWCA, Domestic Violence Hotline. We, as an individual, have to do whatever it takes to end human trafficking because it's happening right here. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
You've been doing this for 5 years, and you just mentioned that people aren't showing up, but are still a lot of people engaging in the chats online?
So the question is, although they're not showing up, are they engaging in chats? And the answer is yes to both. They're not showing up. Now, we do operations outside Genesee County, as you saw, and we get those individuals. But our chatters will chat 50, 75, 100 individuals each night. And sometimes we have 3 chatters going at the same time. The majority of those individuals, once the age is put out there, are like, hey, not me. And that's what we want. We want people to make good adult decisions when they realize that this is an underage individual. Now, the scenarios are still grotesque. What they should do is report those, but they don't, because they're usually in an area where they don't want to be exposed. But they do chat with individuals that everyone takes it a little farther and farther until they show up and knock on the door. So that's still happening, but the actual showing up the scene, I think it's interesting to note that they just didn't cross that line like they had for the 5 years. I see that as a victory for the county.
The camera device?
Yes.
How does that get into someone's bedroom or whatever? Is it a family member, a close relative? How does that end up and where they can get that?
So, good question. This individual, Mr. Lee, was a caregiver for a special needs family member, not our victim. I will tell you, predators find ways to ingratiate themselves in order to exploit. This is what's on their mind. And this camera can be bought online by any of us. And knowing this young victim had their own room, and this individual had access and lived in the area in a camper, was able to plug this in and was able to download those images. We don't know where they went specifically, but they went all over the world. And that's what we're trying to protect. Anybody else? Well, I want to say thank you again, and I'm going to highlight this last final slide, that if you are a victim out there, if something's happened to you and your voice hasn't been heard, please come forth. We will give you that voice. I will protect. I will continue to give that assistance on the aftercare. But this is why we do those stories. Thank you to all the G.H.O.S.T members, all the support from the community, and again, our friends in the media. Until next time, thank you.
Ours is off.
You guys can get still shots in all of this.
Alrighty, you guys just heard from Genesee County Sheriff Chris Swanson in their newest release of 7 individuals that they've caught allegedly in trying to coerce a minor into sexual activities. Just some stats that really but things they said that really stuck out to me. First, just great job by the G.H.O.S.T operation for their continued work with trying to protect children. One fact that they actually put out there that I thought was so interesting was that because of their efforts and because the sexual predators often usually reoffend, the statistic they gave is that they've saved 5,000 victims from becoming victims because of catching these people and because they also will reoffend. Another thing about these 7 individuals that were arrested, the highest bidder trying to get sexual activities with a minor offered $100. The lowest was $75. Just absolutely terrible things you heard from what they were trying to ask for. One gentleman even had a camera, was a caregiver of a special needs person, and once he had access to a minor's room, he stuck a camera in her room. I mean, just absolutely terrible stuff. And that gentleman's actually facing 30 counts of a felony charges. But absolutely terrible stuff to hear. But great work from the G.H.O.S.T team and their continued efforts to protect our communities and all theirs across the country. But coming up tonight on NBC 25, I'll be breaking down more stuff on this, what you can kind of expect to see, and also a little bit more details behind this. So make sure to stay tuned on NBC 25 at 6, Fox 666 on 10, and back again at NBC 25 at 11. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys later, and have a good one.